Have you ever wondered why the kindest people are so often the ones life seems to overlook? What if the reason isn't bad luck at all, but something no one ever taught them to ask for? Before we begin this story, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because here we share quiet stories about the people who keep showing up, even when nobody's watching. Today's story is about a waitress named Rosa, who spent 11 years serving other people's happiness before she ever learned how to hold onto her own. Rosa worked the morning shift at a small diner on the edge of town. She poured coffee before sunrise, remembered everyone's order by heart, and smiled even on the days her feet ached too much to stand. She had a daughter at home, 6 years old, who thought her mother's apron smelled like pancakes and love. Rosa never asked for more, not a bigger tip, not a better shift, not even a thank you. She simply believed that if she worked hard enough, someday things would get easier on their own. They didn't. Every night she counted her tips at the kitchen table after her daughter fell asleep. Some nights it was barely enough for groceries. She never complained. She just kept pouring coffee, kept smiling, kept believing that quiet effort was its own reward. One rainy Tuesday, an older man began coming in every morning. He always sat at the same corner table, ordered the same black coffee, and left the same modest amount, but tucked under his cup there was always a small folded note. The first one read, "You remembered my order. That matters more than you think." Rosa smiled, tucked it in her apron pocket, and went on with her day. The notes kept coming, week after week. "You gave that tired man extra napkins without him asking. I saw that. You let the child at table keep the crayon." Kindness doesn't need a reason. At first, Rosa thought the man was simply lonely, filling his mornings with small observations. But slowly, the notes began to change. One morning it read, "You deserve to ask for what you're worth. Not because you'll get it, because you should know you're allowed to ask." Rosa read that one twice. She had never once, in 11 years, asked for anything. Not a raise, not a schedule that let her see her daughter's school plays, not even a seat when her feet gave out. That night, she sat at the kitchen table longer than usual, staring at the small pile of folded notes she'd kept in an old tin box. Dozens of them now. Each one had noticed something about her that she had stopped noticing about herself. The next morning, when the man came in for his coffee, Rosa did something she'd never done. She sat down across from him for just a moment. "Why do you write these?" she asked. He smiled gently. "Because someone once did the same for me, back when I was too tired to remember my own value. I promised myself I'd pass it on." He left that day and never came back. Rosa never learned his name, but something in her had shifted. The following week, she asked her manager for a schedule change so she could see her daughter's school play. She got it. A month later, she asked for a small raise. It wasn't much, but it was the first time in 11 years she had asked for anything at all. Slowly, Rosa began to notice her own worth the way that strangers' notes had noticed it for her. She started keeping a small notebook of her own, not to track tips, but to write down one thing she'd done well each day. Years passed. Rosa saved a little every month, learned some evenings about running a small business, and eventually opened a tiny cafe of her own, 3 streets from that old diner. Above the register, she kept a small wooden box. Inside it were dozens of folded notes, yellowed with time. Sometimes, when a new waitress on her team looked tired or unseeing, Rosa would slip a small folded note under her coffee cup before her shift. She never explained why. She just knew someone, somewhere, needed to be told they were allowed to ask. If you've been quietly giving without ever asking for what you deserve. Maybe this story was for you today. Tell us in the comments. What's one thing you've never asked for that you deserve? If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who gives more than they receive. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.